Which is what if Naruto was banished after the Sasuke mission and fell in love with Tenten? Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. I can't just sit here while my friend is still chasing after a homicidal, antisocial, megalomaniac. Shikamaru screamed. Your team is in no condition to chase after him. You're lucky that you only got a broken finger and a burst eardrum. Tsunade said, mildly irritated after operating for so long. Naruto is still out there. That means that Sasuke has yet to be retrieved and is still dangerous. Shikamaru said, I agree, but I cannot send you out alone. You almost had chakra depletion just a few hours ago. Your body may be fine now, but your chakra is not. Tsunade said firmly. As Shikamaru opened his mouth to argue more, the door burst open. Azumo, one of the gate guards, ran in. Lady Tsunade, I have urgent news. Naruto Uzumaki is at the gates with Sasuke Uchiha. Both are in critical condition. The Eternal Chunin reported. Tsunade flew from her desk, Shikamaru and Azumo close behind. A crowd was gathered at the gates, a large portion being civilians. Move out of the way, Tsunade demanded. The crowd parted, revealing a steaming Naruto, his wounds healing themselves, and a bleeding Sasuke. Hey, Granny, I did it, Naruto said, raising his fist into the air. He then fainted from exhaustion. Bring me 2 stretchers, ASAP, Tsunade yelled. The nearest shinobi sprinted to hospital as fast as they could. Tsunade went through a few hand signs and scanned the 2 genin. Naruto seemed to have the most damage, but the fox in his stomach was utilizing every crack in the seal that it could reach, pouring as much of its chakra into the boy, enhancing his already impressive healing ability. Sasuke, on the other hand, was a whole different problem. His body was corrupted from the curse mark and was slowly being poisoned from the new chakra being invaded into his body. With him using so much chakra in the fight, it had opened the valve, so to speak, on the mark, allowing it gain a greater hold on his psyche and chakra coils. His body wasn't in very good shape either. Burn marks littered his hand, while his shoulder was shredded from a Rasengan. Both boys were near dead. Half a day later, why have you summoned me here? Tsunade demanded. She was currently in the council room, and she wasn't the one to call it. We are here to decide the fate of the Uzumaki boy, said an elderly man. He had bandages over most of his face, and only had one arm, holding a staff. There is nothing to discuss. He followed his mission objectives and orders to the letter. Sasuke Uchiha was retrieved, and both are alive, Tsunade said, her eye twitching. Be that as it may, we have found traces of its chakra at the Valley of the End and at the gates. The boy must be controlled, or else. The man said, are you threatening one of my ninja Danzo? Tsunade said, no, I am promising. If he is not under someone's control, then the civilians will surely kill him. Danzo said calmly. Tsunade sat in thought for a minute. The civilian side of the council was oddly quiet. What do you suggest then? Tsunade said, give him to me, I will train him into the weapon he should be. Meanwhile, Naruto groaned as he woke up. Don't be in the hospital. Don't be in the hospital, Naruto thought. He slowly peeked open his eyes to see a white room. I hate Mondays, Naruto said as he sat up. There was a knock on the door. Come in, Naruto said. I'm surprised you're up, Naruto, Shizune said as she entered the room. You know me, nothing can keep me down, Naruto said with a foxy smile. Shizune giggled and said, I guess you're right. How are you feeling? Pretty sore, I guess. I'm definitely ready to get out of here though. Naruto grinned. Not so fast, you're not cleared to leave yet. Not till Lady Tsunade herself checks you out, Shizune said. Naruto's stomach growled. Can I at least get something to eat? Naruto asked. Sure, Shizune said before leaving the room. A few minutes later there was another knock at the door. It's open. The door slowly opened to show Sakura. How are you feeling, Naruto? She asked. Hey Sakura, I feel a bit sore, but otherwise I'm fine. Sakura approached Naruto. That's good. Otherwise, Sakura said. Otherwise I wolves feel bad about this, Sakura said before she punched Naruto into the wall, creating a human-shaped crater. Sakura. Hi. Naruto gasped. I told you to bring back Sasuke, not nearly kill him. Sakura yelled. You probably wanted to kill him, you monster. Just so you could date me. But newsflash, I don't like you. Especially since you nearly killed Sasuke, she said before slamming her hands into Naruto a few times. After a minute or two of attacking Naruto, Sakura stopped. You should have died, not nearly Sasuke, she said before leaving. Naruto passed out from the pain, a tear flowing down his cheek. Naruto will not become a slave with schizoid personality disorder. I forbid it, Tsunade yelled. It's either that, or death. Unless you have some form of an idea, Danzo said. If I may, a voice in the council said. Everyone turned towards the owner of the outburst. What if we banish Naruto, for a set number of years? Give the civilians the time to release their anger, and when the time's up, Naruto returns as a ninja, under the watch of Anbu for a year or so. Said the man. And what if he doesn't come back, Shikaku? Asked a man wearing shades. Then we label him a missing ninja, and have him tracked down. Shikaku said. Is this more preferable? He asked. Tsunade thought it over and nodded her head. Is there anything we can hold over him to ensure he returns? Danzo asked. If the Uchiha stays loyal, and becomes strong enough, we can tell the boy that the Uchiha is nominated to become Hokage, it will surely bring him back. Said a man with white eyes and long hair. Very well then, let's put it to a vote. Most of the entire council voted to banish him, including Danzo and Tsunade. The ones against were some of the lesser clans and civilians. Once Genin Naruto Uzumaki is out of the hospital, he will have 6 hours to pack his things and leave the village. After that he cannot set foot here until he is called back in 5 years. He also cannot come within 30 miles of the village in that time. Tsunade decreed. Naruto, I got you some, Naruto. Shizune yelled, dropping the soup she was carrying. She rushed to the unconscious blonde's side, running a scan over him. How could this have happened? I was just gone for 10 minutes. Shizune worried. Eventually, after fixing a few bones and a concussion, she placed Naruto back in bed before running to Tsunade's office. How am I going to break this to him? Tsunade said, a whole bottle of sake already drank. Shizune burst through the doors, causing Tsunade to flinch from the loud noise. Lady Tsunade, someone attacked Naruto. Shizune yelled. What? Tsunade demanded, standing up from her desk. The two rushed back to the hospital. When they got to his room, Naruto was sitting up, staring at the wall, his eyes dull and lifeless. Naruto, are you all right? Tsunade asked quietly. Naruto was silent. Naruto, do you remember who attacked you? Tsunade asked. Sakura. Naruto whispered. Sakura. Suon said angrily. She. Naruto started. What did she do? Tsunade asked, her ear next to his mouth. She said that. She wished I had died. Naruto whispered. Tsunade's eyes widened. Shizune, go get Sakura, bring her to my office. She commanded. Shizune nodded and left the room. Naruto, there's something I need to tell you. And you're not going to like it. Tsunade said slowly. Naruto turned to look at her. The council has decided that you are to be banished from the village for the next 5 years. After that, you are to return to the village and be watched for a year constantly by Anbu. Tsunade said, tears in her eyes. I'm not surprised, I failed. Naruto said, what do you mean? Tsunade asked. I didn't get Sakura to love me. So I failed. Naruto explained. What are you talking about, Naruto? Tsunade said, even more confused. If I could make Sakura like me, then I could make everyone like me. But she wants me dead. Naruto said. Tsunade finally understood and hung the blonde. You've been through so much, and you still have to fight for your place in this world. Tsunade said, a tear rolling down her cheek. What happens if I don't come back? Naruto asked. Then you will be branded a missing ninja, and hunted down. You have 6 hours to pack your things and leave the village. This was the best I could do for you, Naruto. Tsunade explained. Thank you, he said before reaching towards his neck. This is yours, Tsunade. Naruto said, untying the necklace. No, I can't take it back. Tsunade said, but I will probably be dead by the time my banishment is over. He said, trying to hand her the necklace. Tsunade placed her hands on Naruto's, closing his hand around the necklace. You won that fair and square, Naruto, and you may not become Hokage, but you are destined to change the world. This necklace proves that, Tsunade said. She slowly kissed his forehead. For good luck. Now go pack, and say your goodbyes. Tsunade said. Thank you, for acknowledging me. Naruto said before leaving the room. Knock knock. The door opened. Can I, Naruto? What are you doing here? Iruka asked. Hey Iruka-sensei. Sorry to interrupt your class, but can I have a word with you, Konohamaru, Udon, and Moegi? Naruto asked. Now's not a very good time, Naruto. Whatever you wish to tell us can wait. Iruka said. No, it really can't. Naruto said. Iruka scanned Naruto's eyes and nodded. Konohamaru, Udon, Moegi, come here please. Iruka said. The 5 walked into a meeting room before Iruka said, what is so important that you need to interrupt my class and take out 3 of my students, Naruto? Naruto sighed, something that put Iruka off. There's no easy way to say this. I've been banished for the next 5 years. Iruka gasped while the Konohamaru core just looked confused. What do you mean, boss? Konohamaru asked. I won't be in the village for 5 years, if at all after today. I've come to say goodbye. Naruto said. The gravity of the situation hit the trio like a bag of bricks. But Who's gonna pass the mantle of Hokage to me? Konohamaru sniffled. Naruto kneeled down and smiled at the lad. Hey now, no cryin'. That goes for you too as well. Konohamaru, I don't know what the future holds, but promise me, if I'm not in the village after 5 years, that you will fulfill your dream and become Hokage. Naruto said. Konohamaru wiped the tears from his eyes and gave him a salute. And you too, I want you to be just as strong next time we meet. Naruto said to Udon and Moegi. All three gave him a salute, before hugging him, and going back to class. Iruka, thanks for looking out for me when I was a kid. Naruto said. Iruka grabbed him in a hug. Take care, little brother. Iruka said before walking away. Hey Naruto, Ayame said as Naruto walked into the stand. How's my best customer doing? Chuki said as he fired up the oven. Not good guys, Naruto said. Why don't you tell us about it over some ramen? Ayame asked. I don't have much time, but one bowl couldn't hurt. Naruto said. Attaboy, so what seems to be the problem? Chuki asked. Saying goodbye. Naruto said. What do you mean? Ayame said. You two are the closest thing I probably have to family. And I won't be seeing you anymore. Naruto said. Chuki turned around and looked at Ayame. The teen shrugged and turned back to Naruto. What do you mean you won't be seeing us? Are you going on a long mission? She asked. No, I've been banished for the next 5 years. Naruto said, shocking the two. How? Ayame stuttered out. I don't know myself, but thank you, both of you, for taking care of me all these years. Naruto said teary-eyed. Ayame and Chuki looked at each other and nodded, before Ayame reached under the table, and pulled out a giant bowl. We were saving this for when you became a chunin, but now's as good as time as ever. Chuki said. This is our Naruto-sized bowl, and for you, it's free. Chuki said filling it up. Thank you. Naruto said. Let me give you some advice. You will never die, so long as there is at least one person who will remember you Naruto. Chuki said, pulling out a picture frame. It was of Naruto eating the last ramen Chuki had. Said chef passed out on the floor, and Ayame laughing at her dad. Our best customer, and an honorary Ichiraku. Ayame said before hugging the blonde and slipping a book in his pocket. Naruto ate his last Ichiraku ramen and bid them farewell. His next stop was quite different, it was the memorial stone. Hey old man, I don't know where they actually buried you, but I figured this would be as good a place as ever to talk to you. I got banished for a few years, and I'm really thinking of not coming back after it's over. So I just wanted to say, thanks for everything Gramps. Naruto said before walking to his last destination before home. It's you. The woman said. Hi there Mrs. Nara, is Shikamaru here? Naruto asked. I'll go get him, Shikamaru's mom said. 10 minutes later Shikamaru walked out the front door with a yawn. Troublesome. What's up Naruto? Shikamaru asked. Hey Shika, you're looking rested. Naruto said. Yeah, the Hokage told me to take it easy for a few days. The lazy ninja said. Shikamaru, I don't know if you've heard, but I've been banished. Naruto said. Shikamaru's eyebrows raised nearly his hair. You're serious? He asked. Afraid so. I don't have much time, but I want to thank you for being a friend, and can you pass along the message to the others? Naruto said. Sure man. When do you leave? He asked the blonde. I've got about an hour and a half time I need to be put of here. Naruto explained. Troublesome. This sucks so much you know. Shikamaru said. Yeah, I'll see you around Shika. Naruto said before turning to leave. Naruto. Shikamaru said. Naruto turned around. It's been an honor serving with you. Shikamaru said, stretching his hand out. And it's been an honor with you Shikamaru. Naruto said shaking his hand before he left. Alright Uzumaki, it's time to go. A cat masked wearing Anbu said, appearing in Naruto's room. Alright, thank you for informing me. Naruto said before being escorted to the gate. Naruto Uzumaki, you are being banished for losing control of yourself and nearly killing your target. You cannot set foot in this village or in 30 miles of this location for the next 5 years. After that you are to return here or be hunted down by the hunter Nin. Do you have any questions? Tsunade asked. No, he said. Very well, I wish you luck for the next 5 years. Tsunade said. Just as he was about to leave someone from behind him said, Oi. Naruto turned around to see Shikamaru, Tenten, Lee, Shino, and Iruka. What are you guys doing here? Naruto asked. You can't leave without our parting gifts. Shino said. Yes, our youthful gifts will help you very much Naruto. Lee said. Iruka was first, and handed him a box. Inside are the tools you'll need. Iruka said before stepping back. Yosh, here you go my youthful friend. Lee said handing Naruto a scroll. Shino handed him a book. This should help you significantly. Shino said before Tenten stepped up. Here, I may not have known you for very long, Naruto, but I wish we could have spent more time with each other," she said before giving him a box and a kiss on the cheek. Finally, Shikamaru stepped forward. "It's not going to be the same with you gone," he said. "At least it will be less troublesome," Naruto said with a laugh. "Yeah, anyway here, I suggest page 43, Shikamaru said, handing Naruto a book. Naruto raised his eyebrow before putting it with his other stuff. "And here, I made this for you," he said, handing him a star-shaped pendant. It had a cream-colored outline with orange glass in the holes and the swirl normally seen on the back of Chunin jackets in the middle. "It's a wayfinder. With it, you will always find a way back to your friends, even if it takes years. I made it out of the antlers of some of our deer and some orange glass," Shikamaru said. "Thank you, all of you," Naruto said before pocketing everything and jumping into the woods. "There we go. Remember how I said Kingdom Hearts stuff? It has just begun, haha. Anyway, I hope everyone likes it. It's different from before, but I have a reason for this. Just wait. I bid you all adieu. Alright Uzumaki, this is as close to Konoha as you can go, and this is as far as I will take you," the cat mask wearing Anbu reported. "Thank you, Miss Anbu," Naruto said. They were currently in a clearing with a small stream. "You're welcome. Good luck out there," the Anbu said before jumping away. "Well, it's already late. I might as well set up camp," Naruto said. He had traveled with the Anbu for nearly 4 hours. After another hour, Naruto had a small fire in his tent set up as he slowly boiled some ramen in a cup. "Well, might as well see what everyone got me," Naruto said, pulling out Shikamaru's book. Bloodlines and Clans," Naruto said as he opened to page 43. In a dark office, "Torum, Fa," a voice said. 2 figures shunshined into the office. Both wore masks, one plain, the other a monkey. Each had the kanji for root engraved into the masks. "Lord Danzo," they said in unison. The Hokage refused to hand over the Jinchuriki. "Find him. Bring him to me, alive," Danzo said. "Yes, my lord," they said before disappearing back into the shadows. "The Uzumaki clan," Naruto said in shock. "I have a clan," he said to himself. The Uzumaki clan was one of the most feared clans in existence. Sadly, it was wiped out by a combination of Iwa, Kumo, and Kiri during the Second Shinobi War. Any survivors have been scattered to 4 corners of the world. The 3 villages did not escape unscathed, having lost 3/4 of their armies. The Uzumaki clan has a few abelites and traits that signify their bloodline. The most prominent trait is their red hair. Other than that, the Uzumaki clan has a hyper-healing ability, with a few even being able to heal others with their blood. Another trait is a predisposition to the sealing arts. This is what caused their demise. Their skill so feared the other villages laid siege to their home, the land of whirlpools. The other last trait of the Uzumaki are the chakra chains. These chains are physical forms of chakra. The last known Uzumaki who were known to have this ability were Mito Uzumaki, the first Hokage's wife, and more recently Kushina Uzumaki, the Red Death of Konoha. Naruto cried as learned the truth of his family. "I have a clan, and if this Kushina was from Konoha, I might have learned the identity of my mom." Naruto sobbed. "It is likely that she was your mother," a voice said behind him. Naruto froze, slowly turning his head. In the trees above him stood 2 ninja in masks. "Who are you?" Naruto demanded. "Our master wants you back," one of them said. "Wants me back? You're from Konoha?" Naruto asked. Neither of them said a word. "I haven't broke my banishment. You can't kill me," Naruto yelled. "True, we can't kill you. But you will come with us, or we will force you to," the one in the Monly mask stated. "Hell no. If Granny learns I returned, I will die," Naruto yelled, standing up. "Very well then, you leave us no choice," said the blank masked one. He held up a familiar hand sign. "That's Ino's jutsu," Naruto yelled before throwing some shuriken at both ninja. The one with the monkey mask shot out a cloud of purple gas around him, protecting himself from the stars. The other one dropped his hands, and jumped back to avoid being cut. "Paralyze him, we need him alive," the blank root member said. His partner nodded and sent a swarm of gas that quickly overcame Naruto. "That should be good, we don't want him too damaged." When the smoke is cleared, they found Naruto near unconscious a few feet from where he was. "Grab him and let's return," the one in the monkey mask said. "You have to get through me first." That was the last thing Naruto heard before he succumbed to the darkness. What happened?" Naruto moaned as he woke up. He quickly blinked in confusion before sighing, recognizing his surroundings. "Why am I here, Fox?" Naruto asked. The 9 tails was for once not glaring at Naruto. It was concentrating. 2 of its tails were placed in pipes glowed red, illuminating the cavern. "And why is it so dark in here?" Naruto asked out loud. Fool. It's so dark in here because you are dying," And by our connection, I am dying. The fox said, not opening its eyes. Was it that poisonous gas? Naruto asked. That was no gas. It was a swarm of parasitic insects that were slowly killing you. Had you not have been an Uzumaki, or my container, you would be dead. The fox said, you're awfully calm about this. And why are you not threatening me? Naruto asked. I have not time to issue threats against your pitiful self. I am concerned, that's why I'm pumping you with as much yokai as I can. The fox explained. So what do we do? Naruto asked. I'm turning this issue into something that will make you less pathetic. You should start actually training, but before that, you are going to be in a lot of pain. The fox said. Wait, what? What pain? Naruto asked. You'll feel it in about, now. The fox said with a smirk. Naruto suddenly felt like his entire body was being dissolved in acid, and his blood was boiling. He let out a scream before passing out from the pain. Naruto, Naruto, Naruto. A voice called out. Naruto didn't move until he felt something slam against his face. Oh, Naruto yelled, now awake. Told you I could wake him up. Came a monotone voice. Did you have to hit me so hard? Exclamation mark quote. Naruto yelled. The blonde suddenly examined his surroundings. He was in an average room, with a makeshift IV in his arm. Wait, I'm not dead, he said. Nope. Naruto looked to his left and saw Gaara of all people. Gaara, where are we, and what happened? Naruto asked. You were attacked by 2 ninja. Can you tell us why? A feminine voice said from his right. Temari, now I'm really confused. I'm not in Konoha, am I? Naruto asked. The blonde shook her head no, and Naruto visibly relaxed. What happened, my friend? Gaara asked. It's a long story, Naruto said sadly. Take all the time you need. Kankuro went out to get some food. Temari said, placing a hand on Naruto's shoulder. The blonde sighed and told his friends of the past 48 hours. How could they? Temari demanded. I could see it, Gaara said calmly. Something kind of weird happened though, while I was passed out. Naruto said. And what's that? Temari asked. I was talking to the fox, and it told me it was going to make me less pathetic. You guys have any idea what it meant? He asked. Neither of the sand ninja knew. Well, at least you're safe now. Temari said. What do you plan to do now? Gaara asked. I'm not really sure, he admitted. Why don't you come back to sand with us? Temari asked. That sounds great, but there's a place I just remembered I need to go to. Naruto said. I got onigiri, Kankuro said, bursting through the door. Everyone stared at him. What? He said. Gaara was stoic as ever and Temari just shook her head. Anyway, I need to find my home. Naruto said. Dude, you live in Konoha. Kankuro said. Temari slammed her fan on his head, knocking him out. Sorry, go on, Temari said. While it's true that I myself am from the Leaf, my family is from the land of whirlpools. Naruto explained. Your family? Gaara asked. Whirlpool, Temari stated. Yeah, it turns out I am one of the last remaining Uzumaki from the Uzumaki clan. At least, the fox confirmed I am. Naruto said, thinking back on their conversation. I've never heard of Whirlpool, or of the Uzumaki clan. Temari said, apparently my family was nearly wiped out in the Second Ahinobi World War by a combination of Aiwa, Kumo, and Kiri. Naruto explained. Wow, they must have been quite feared to have all 3 of them joined together. Temari exclaimed. I need to find my home, so I can have some sense of family. Naruto said. Gaara and Temari remained silent. What will you do after you find your family's home? Gaara asked. I'm going to train. I can't let the Akatsuki catch me. And whoever is in charge of Root. Naruto said. Akatsuki, who are they? Temari asked. You mean you guys don't know? Naruto said. The 2 Sand siblings shook their heads. They are a group of people who are after the Biju. Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki are after me. I don't know who they will send after you, Gaara, but these guys are S-ranked criminals. Naruto said. This is most uncomforting. Gaara stated. Thank you for telling us this, Naruto. Temari said. No problem. By the way, did you guys happen to grab my stuff? Temari bent down and pulled his stuff out from under the bed. We grabbed everything we saw in the clearing after we chased off your attackers. Gaara said. Naruto nodded before he went through the bag, making sure everything was secure. Where are we, by the way? Naruto asked. Tanzaku guy. Good. That means we're close to the border. Thanks for saving me, guys, but it's time I go. Naruto said, sitting up. No, not yet, it isn't. I'm getting you out of that jumpsuit. Temari said. Naruto was going to detest, but one look from Temari and Naruto was readily agreeing. You sister can be scary sometimes. Naruto whispered to Gaara. Even when I was a homicidal sociopath, I kept away from a mad Temari. Gaara said before said girl dragged Naruto off to go shopping. Now, Guy doesn't have much in terms of shinobi gear, aside from the occasional merchant, but we can find you some sturdy travel clothes until you can get some better gear. Temari said, I was hoping to make the most of my jumpsuits, but I guess that's not going to be the case. Naruto said with a smirk. Why do you even wear the thing? Temari asked. Naruto's smirk immediately dropped, as he stared into the earth. HMSHME. Naruto mumbled. What was that? Temari asked softly. It was the only thing I could buy. Naruto croaked in a rare time of weakness. Temari instantly stopped. No tears fell from Naruto's face, but his eyes betrayed himself. Naruto didn't notice how close Temari was getting, until she hugged him. I'm so sorry for what you've been through, Naruto, she said, mentally frowning as he stiffened up when she hugged him. Thank you, for everything, he whispered. They broke their embrace and continued on their shopping spree. Hello, how may I help you? The female clerk asked as the two entered the shop. Hi there, I'm helping my friend here update his wardrobe. Do you have any clothes for shinobi? Or at least sturdy travel clothes? Temari asked. Well, I don't have for shinobi, but travel clothes I have much more of. The woman said, just head towards the back of the shop, and everything I have for ninja will be on the left. Travel clothes are right next to them. Temari gave the woman her thanks before ushering Naruto towards the clothes. Temari, Naruto stated. Yes, she asked. Could you help me pick out my clothes? Naruto spewed. Temari took a few seconds to digest what he asked before smiling. Sure Naruto, I'd be happy to help. They spent the next hour combing through both sections before Naruto was sent to the changing room. How's it looking in there, Naruto? Temari asked. I don't know, Naruto stated honestly. Well, come out and let me see, she said. The door opened and Temari gasped at the, in her opinion, huge improvement. Wow Naruto, you look good, she said. You think so? Naruto asked. I wouldn't have said otherwise. Temari grinned. Naruto had ditched almost his entire old style. He now wore a high-collar sleeveless black jacket with a V-neck fishnet shinobi shirt underneath it. He had midnight blue ninja shorts that extend to his mid-calf. The rest of legs were wrapped in white ninja tape, leaving his sole and heel exposed. He wore his headband in black tied to his shorts. He had his Wayfinder and the first Hokage's pendant hanging around his neck. This is quite the improvement, Naruto. But I think you need a few things, solely for travel. Temari said, picking out a near-flat rice hat, a pair of geta, and a black kimono. Excuse me, can you have a navy blue version of this swirl on the back of two more of these jackets, and two swirls on the sleeves of this kimono? Temari asked, holding up the Uzumaki swirl. Certainly, it will just cost a little more, and take about an hour. The woman reported. Then we will be back. Shall we pay now, or later? Temari asked. Now is fine. How many OD these outfits do you want? The woman asked. 2 more of the shirts, pants, and jackets. Naruto here will wear this one out, except the jacket. Temari stated. Very well then. Altogether, that comes out to about 3,000 ryo. The woman stated. Naruto's mouth dropped before he reached for his wallet. No Naruto, I told you I was getting you out of that jumpsuit. Temari said firmly. Very well then, Naruto said, taking his jacket off. Thank you, your order should be done in an hour. The woman said. Temari nodded before they left the store. Why did you pay for my clothes? Naruto asked. Because I wanted to. Since you aren't a part of Leaf for the next few years, you'll learn that people do nice things for the ones they care about. Temari said. Naruto thought for a moment before he grabbed Temari's hand and sprinted through the town. Naruto, what are you doing? Temari scrambled. Doing something nice for someone I care about, Naruto said with a foxy grin. Eventually Naruto led them to a nice, yet casual, restaurant. Lunch? He asked innocently. After Temari caught her breath she smiled. Since we have about 45 minutes to wait, and we're already here, sure. What may I get you today? The waiter asked. I'll take the dumplings with a side of rice with a cup of mint tea. Temari said. And you? The waiter asked Naruto. I'll have your miso soup with a side of pork and a cup of water. Naruto said. I'll be right back with your order. The man said. So Naruto, tell me a bit about yourself. Temari asked. Well, there's not much to really tell you that you don't know already. Naruto said. Come on, there's gotta be something I don't know about you. Temari said. Well, I think I found out who my mother was. Naruto said happily. Really, was she a kunoichi? Temari asked curiously. Yep, her name was Kushina, and they called her the Red Death of Konoha. Temari's eyes widened. Your mom was the Red Death? Temari asked. I think so, Naruto said before throwing his arms over his face. The waiter came with their food and gave Naruto a look before shrugging. Naruto, what are you doing? Temari asked. You're not going to hit me? Naruto asked. Why would I do that? Temari asked. Every time I said something stupid, Sakura would hit me. Naruto explained. Temari's heart ached upon these words. Naruto, there's so much wrong with that sentence. You didn't say anything stupid at all. And even if you did, it's no excuse to hit you. Temari said softly. Really? Naruto asked. Of course, besides, you aren't stupid Naruto. Temari said. Naruto's eyes widened. I'm not. Naruto asked like a small child. Any sort of dislike for the blonde Jinchuriki was blown away at this question. No, you're ignorant, and you aren't to blame Naruto, your village is. Temari stated. Naruto's eyes watered in happiness. No one has ever said that to me. Naruto said, wiping away a stray tear. Naruto, I know we haven't known each other for long, but I don't think you should return to the leaf. Temari said, I've had that thought run through my head a few times as well. Naruto said, but I don't know what I would do once my banishment is up. Besides, they would brand me a missing ninja if I didn't return. Naruto explained. Well, there's a few things you can do instead. Temari thought aloud. Like what? He asked. Well, you could join a village. I know Sand would love to have you. Temari stated. I don't want to cause trouble for you guys. I don't think that the other villages would accept me either. Hiri is still in its civil war, and Kumo and Iwa would just rip the fox out of me. Good points. You also probably wouldn't be able to live in one of the smaller villages. They couldn't handle the pressure Leaf would place on them to return you. Temari thought. I think I'll play it by ear. 5 years is a long time to see what happens. Naruto grinned. Yeah, by the way Naruto, I know that you wanted to be Hokage, but do you have any other dreams? Temari asked. Naruto sat there, deep in thought, debating what he should reveal. After an uncomfortable few minutes Naruto finally spoke. I want a family, Naruto said, surprising the other blonde. Really, I didn't take you for one to settle down. Temari said honestly. I guess the knuckle-headed hyperactive ninja would give people that impression. Naruto said sadly, but the closest I have ever been to feeling love is from an old man and 2 ramen chefs. Naruto said, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Temari said, it's not like you could have known Temari, it's okay. Naruto said, no, it's not okay. I've seen what that has done to people Naruto. It's not right at all. Temari said, it's not fair, but Gaara and I didn't have any choice. Haha, I guess Neji may have had something with that fate idea. Naruto laughed bitterly. Naruto, I'm going to be completely honest here. I know you don't really know what it's like to love, or to give love. But I have this feeling in me, and it's telling me to go on another date with you. Temari said, blushing. A date, Naruto exclaimed. I would call today a date, if you would. Temari blushed. But why me? He stuttered. Because you are a good person, and you trusted me with your innermost desire, something that surprised me to no end. You also have seen the worst of humanity, and come out as a better person. You may be rough around the edges, but they make you who you are. You're also quite cute out of that jumpsuit, Temari said, speaking from her heart. Thank you for your honesty Temari. And that deserves my honesty. When I first saw you at the Chunin exams, I thought you were one of the prettiest girls I've ever seen. When I saw you fight in the exams, I saw how intelligent you are, and that you are strong enough to try and stand up to your brothers. You also showed a sense of protectiveness of them, something that I find to be amazing. But like you said, I have little experience with love, and I'm not sure I can give you what you're looking for Temari. Naruto said. Naruto looked down in sadness when he stated this. Growing up all alone had done much more to his psyche than most had thought. Temari grabbed his hands. Naruto, I know that. But you have a bigger heart than you think. Just think about it as you travel. Temari smiled. Naruto nodded, giving a foxy smile. And you better visit so I can get my answer. Temari said as she reached for her wallet. You paid for my clothes, I'm paying for our lunch date. Naruto said, surprising the girl. After paying the bill, the two got his clothes before returning to the hotel room. Alright guys, I'll try to be in Suna within the next 6 months. Gaara, train hard in preparation. Temari, I'll think about it, and give you an answer when we next meet. Kankuro, nice hat. Kankuro had on a Raningasa. Where will you go first? Gaara asked. Naruto grabbed his gear. I've got some friends to visit. If anyone is going to know how to dind whirlpool it's them. Naruto said before jumping out the window. See ya, was heard. Naruto was currently headed towards the coast of Fire Country. At least, he was, until he was summoned back into his mindscape. Why am I back so soon Fox? Naruto asked. I have succeeded in saving you, and giving you a powerful gift. Be more respectful. The fox said. Naruto's eyes narrowed. What did you do to me? He asked. A few things actually. You now are immune to pretty much all poison. You can do so because you are basically a giant poison plant. The fox said drowsily. What's up with you? Why are you so tired? Naruto asked. You try purging trillions of toxins from your body with the power of a straw, dumbass. He said before passing out. Naruto was then thrust out of his mindscape, as someone pushing his shoulder. Hey kid, wake up. I hate when that happens. Naruto said, waking up. He looked around and saw that he was surrounded by a small group of people. Jumping back, he pulled out a kunai in defense. Who are you? Naruto demanded. He gazed at the small group. It consisted of a large darker-skinned man, with curly black hair, tied up in a large bandana, a pale woman with light blue hair in a pineapple-like haircut and red lipstick, a tall thin man with an eye patch, and pale yellow hair, a man with a jacket with a Fuma shuriken on his back, and a blind man holding a cane, wearing monk robes. Now no need to get feisty kid. We found you passed out. The curly-haired man said. Naruto's eyes narrowed, not letting go of the kunai. I am Kai Yumuki. We call ourselves Echo. Kai explained. We're a group that was created to combat Orochimaru, the snake Sannin and his hidden village. Kai explained. Naruto's eyes narrowed. I'm guessing you have a history with him. Kai asked. He killed my grandfather, and is the main reason I have been banished from my village. Naruto said. Kai and the others gave Naruto a sad look before nodding. What's your name, young one? The blind man asked. Naruto Uzumaki, possibly the last of the Uzumaki clan. Naruto explained. Kai's eyebrow rose. And how did Orochimaru do these things to you, Naruto, last of the Uzumaki? Kai asked. He infiltrated the Leaf Village during the Chunin exams, killed the third Hokage, my grandfather, and marked my teammate with a cursed mark. Naruto explained. So that bastard did kill the third. The one with the Fuma shuriken said. And how did he cause you to be banished? Kai asked. My teammate went rouge, me and a team were sent out to retrieve him. We later learned that he was defecting to Orochimaru, and had a group of sound ninja elites with him. I eventually battled him in this strange corrupted form he assumed, and eventually after the fight, brought him back, only for my council to banish me for 5 years, then be brought back or be forced back. Naruto explained. That's quite the tale kid, I'm sorry you've had to go through that. Kai said. It's not like it's the worst thing I've had to deal with in my life. Naruto muttered. The others looked at each other but decided not to say anything. Kid, you're strong. It's evident if you fought a level 2 curse mark and survived, not to mention beat your teammate. What's say you join the Echo? Kai asked. Kai, he's just a boy. The Fuma guy said, and he's seen just as much as us, maybe even more. Kai said, I'll join you, but I need to go to Whirlpool first. It's my homeland, and I need to see if anything was left there. Naruto said, of course, we shall accompany you. Have you been attacked by anyone since you beat your teammate and were banished? Kai asked. A pair of strange Anbu. They wore masks that said root on them. Naruto explained. Danzo, kid, you sure have some luck. The tall man said. Well, might as well introduce everyone, since we are working together now. Kai said. I'm Kai, the current leader of Echo, and an experiment of Orochimaru's who broke his leash, and master of the wolves. Kai explained. I'm Gurren, former bodyguard of Orochimaru. You said your teammate was escorted by a group of shinobi, may I ask who? Gurren asked. 4 shinobi. One was a kunoichi with red hair. Naruto said. To Yuya. Gurren said. Naruto looked at her with a questioning look. She's a friend of mine, and our spy in Orochimaru's forces. Gurren explained before rushing off towards the leaf. Wait, where's she going? Naruto asked. Gurren is saving her friend, if she's still out there. They're very close. The blind one explained. Anyway, not much we can do about it now. I am Reo Fuma, head of the remaining Fuma clan. He said. Gurren will find her way back at some point, it's fine. I'm also our medic, even though I'm only a field medic. Reo explained. The tall, eye-patched one stepped forward. I'm Hisao Hayashi, wielder of the Shotogen, he said before pulling his eye patch up, revealing a complete white eye with a strange pupil. It was a pale yellow that was circular, and had 4 lines coming out of it. What does it do? Naruto asked. My bloodline is new to me, as I am the first to ever obtain it. What I know is that it shows me the weak points in attacks, armor, and places. I also have a special jutsu that goes with it. Hisao explained. I guess I am last. The blind man said. I am Ko, swordsman of Echo, philosopher, spymaster, and blind man. Ko said with a smile. Not to be rude, but how are you the spymaster? Naruto asked. I use my summons to gather intel for us. Ko explained. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, last of the Uzumaki clan, apparently made of poison, and the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox. Naruto said. Nice. Hisao said, shocking Naruto. Not every day you get to meet a Jinchuriki. So, Naruto, any idea how to get to your homeland? Kai asked. I don't know, except for that it's called the Land of Whirlpools. But, I know of some people who might know. Really who? Kai asked. Naruto smiled. We just have to go to the Land of Waves. That's not too far for Gurren to catch up to us. Ko said. Let's go. Hisao said, unsealing a Ruan. Everyone else groaned. Why is everyone groaning? Naruto asked. Hisao has a disposition for singing when we travel. Reo explained. Unless it's a stealth mission. He added. Come on guys, I got a new one, just for this chapter in our lives with Naruto. He said as they headed out. Hem. He coughed before making sure his Ruan was in tune. After playing a few chords, he started to sing. Tell everybody I'm on my way. New friends and places to see. With blue skies ahead, yes I'm on my way. He sang as they traveled. Half a day later, they arrived at the bridge. Man, this brings back memories. Naruto said as he saw the bridge approached. Really? Why's that? Ko asked. This was my first mission outside of Leaf. We ended up fighting Zabuza and his son Haku, who were hired by this guy Gato, who Zabuza eventually killed after Gato betrayed him. Naruto explained. Hey, Naruto, look at this. Reo said. On the pillar that held up the gate of the bridge was a plaque. The Great Naruto Bridge, in memory of the ninja who brought back hope to our land. Kai read. I had no idea I helped so much. Naruto said, before they all walked across the bridge. As soon as they entered the village, people started looking at them. Is that Naruto? Who's he with? It's Naruto, the savior of Leaf, and so on. It seems you're quite popular here, Naruto. Ko stated, before taking a sip of sake, from a gourd he had at his hip. I don't think that's safe for you, Ko. Naruto said, causing the others to laugh. So where's your informant? Hisao asked. Chizuna should live down this road. Naruto said, taking in the sights. Wave had recovered quite a lot since his last visit. Knock knock. Yes, who is I, Naruto? Tsunami yelled, hugging the blonde. Inari, Dad, come down here. You're not going to believe who's at the door. Tsunami yelled. Who is it, Tsunami? Chizuna asked, taking a sip from his own gourd. Hiya Chizuna, Naruto said with a wave. Naruto, it's good to see ya boy. You on a mission way out here? Chizuna asked. Before Naruto could respond, a cap-wearing bullet shot from the stairs. Big bro Naruto, Inari yelled as he hugged the ninja. Hey Inari, you've certainly grown since I last saw you. Naruto said with a smile. Well, look at you. You aren't wearing that jumpsuit anymore. And you're traveling with these tough-looking guys. Inari said, motioning the others. Kai and the others awkwardly waved. Might we come in? Naruto asked. Tsunami nodded, before moving from the door. So what brings you here, Naruto? Tsunami asked. Naruto was sad for a moment, before smiling. I'm looking for information of a place called the Land of Whirlpools. I figured if anyone had any information on it, it would be you guys. Naruto explained. Tsunami thought for a moment, a finger on her chin. Can't say I've heard of it. She said. I have. Chizuna said, causing everyone to give him their attention. It's a place not far from here. In the old days, when I was a child, Wave was a part of Whirlpool before something happened and it became its own country. Chizuna said, taking a swig of alcohol. Any idea where it's at? Naruto asked. I don't, but if anyone does, it's our daimyo, he would know. I'll see about getting you a meeting. Chizuna said. In the meantime, make yourselves at home. He said with a smile. No, we don't want to intrude. Kai said, waving his hands. Nonsense, a friend of Naruto's is a friend of ours. Tsunami said with a smile. Well, if you insist. We have another friend coming here, if it's not too much trouble. Kai said. That's fine. We've done a lot of renovating since Naruto here helped liberate us from Gato. Chizuna said with a smile. Thanks Chizuna, Naruto said with a foxy smile. Later that day, Team Echo was sitting in the living room. So Naruto, you said something about being made of poison. Can you explain? Reo asked. Well, this just happened to me recently. I was ambushed by a pair of root Anbu, and one used some of Ino's, Shizakunoichi from my village, jutsu. I dodged, but the other guy shot some kind of parasite at me in this giant fog. The fox managed to change it to me being immune to pretty much all poison, and he said that I am a giant poison plant. I am not sure what he meant. Naruto said. Interesting. May I get a blood sample from you, Naruto? I wish to do some tests if you don't mind. Reo said. I thought you were just a field medic. Naruto said. I am technically a field medic, only because I do not know the more advanced techniques. I do have the skills and certification to conduct research on samples. Ryo explained. I guess, but I gotta warn you, I'm not a fan of doctors all that much. Naruto said. That's fine. As the medic of the team, I do need to know a bit about your body to heal you in the case of an emergency. Ryo said, unsealing some medical supplies. He then took a blood sample. Using a diagnostic jutsu, he examined the blood. This is quite unusual, he said, observing it under a microscope. What's up with me, doc? Naruto asked. It seems your tenant was correct. Your chakra is very corrosive, it nearly ate through my glass. I believe, with enough training, you can generate your chakra outside your body, creating new jutsu. Ryo explained. I guess I will add that to my training regime. Naruto said. I recommend you do. Ryo said. Your chakra reserves are massive, maybe even cage level. Ryo said. Naruto, I got some information from our daimyo. He's gotten a boat ready to take you there tomorrow. Tazuna said, as he entered the house. Also, there's a lady here, says she's a part of your team. Tazuna said, revealing Gurren. Ah, Gurren, glad you found us. How was Hyuga? Kai asked. She was heavily injured, but managed to get back to sound. Gurren said, good, make sure she stays fine there. We don't want Orochimaru killing her. Kai said. Gurren nodded before sitting down. So what's the boat we're taking called Tazuna? Naruto asked. It doesn't have a name, but it does have a shark as its figurehead. Tazuna said. Everyone packed their things, and settled down for the journey after a nice dinner. So, this ship has a shark as the figurehead, right? Ryo asked. That's what Tazuna said. Naruto responded. It was currently 6 in the morning, the mist surrounding the small country of waves shimmered in the early morning sun rays. There it is, Ko said, shocking Naruto. He was pointing at an old ship with a shark as the figurehead. How did you see it? Naruto asked. I didn't, Ko said. Naruto crashed into the floor. After he got up, they approached the ship. Sitting in a chair was a very strangely dressed man. He wore a dark purple versus neck tank top with brown trim. He had a gray scarf, and a dark gray fedora. He had 2 visible scars on his face, one a crescent over his eye, the other running down his cheek. He was reading a newspaper. Naruto? He asked, not looking up from his paper. Yes, Naruto said. The man stood up and walked up the side of the ship. The ship itself was old, holding a single mast, with a small cabin. My name is Ventus von Bronze, I'll be your captain this morning. Please keep all hands and feet inside the ship at all times. You may now board, Ventus said from the helm. The Echo walked up the gangplank. A short, dark-skinned man walked out of the cabin, holding 2 hand axes. On his arms were dark bracers. Good morning everyone, my name is Retz, I am the first mate of this ship, if you have any questions, please ask me. Retz said. How long will it approximately be till we arrive? Hisao asked. Approximately 2 days, 3 if we experience any bad weather, said a woman from next to Ventus. That's Kia, out navigator. Retz said. Do you have any medical equipment on board? Ryo asked. Yes, came the deep voice of a large bald man with tribal markings on his armor. This is Daruka, our doctor. Retz explained. Ryo nodded before walking over to Daruka to continue their conversation. Anything else? Retz asked. No one said anything. All right, Captain. Our guests are ready. Ventus nodded. Are we ready? Retz yelled to 2 men at the top of the sail. Aye, Retz. They yelled. The waters are clear and calm, Shortstooth. Came the voice from the crow's nest. Thank you, Cyclops. Retz said, a bit irritated. Ventus just laughed. All ready, Captain. Retz said, turning towards Ventus. All right, let's set sail, he yelled. Aye. The crew yelled before the sails were released. The wind immediately caught the fabric, causing the ship to lurch forwards as they sailed. The next day, Hokage's office. I've gathered you all here for an important announcement, Tsunade said. Before her were the Rookie 9, Team Guy, and their senseis. Neji was in a wheelchair, Choji's body was wrapped in bandages, Kiba was leaning on crutches with Akamaru having a limp, and Lee had a cane. Some of you already know what has happened, others, only a part of the truth. Tsunade continued. 3 days ago, Sasuke Uchiha went rouge, leaving the leaf with the aid of 4 sound ninja. Tsunade explained. Sasuke would never do that. Sakura and Ino yelled. Quiet, Tsunade yelled. Ino and Sakura retreated into themselves. As I was saying, a group was sent out to retrieve him, not knowing about his help. The shinobi amongst you are evident of this, she said, motioning to the injured parties. Now, you may notice that one of you is not here. Naruto Uzumaki, she continued. Sakura looked like she wanted to say something, but a quick glare from her Tsunade stopped her. Naruto successfully retrieved Sasuke, causing both to be hospitalized. She said. Kakashi's eyes went from cup to plate-sized. Late yesterday morning, Naruto was released from the hospital. But, as some of you know, the council has banished him for the next 5 years. If you see him in the field, do not contact him, do not speak to him, just report to your commanding officer about his location. As for his rules, he cannot set foot in a 30-mile radius around Konoha, and cannot talk to any Leaf Shinobi for 5 years. Once those years are over he will return here, or be labeled a missing ninja and forcefully brought back. Tsunade said. Hinate broke down crying at this, Kurenai comforting the girl. Any questions? Tsunade asked. Why was he banished? He did the job, just as the rest of us did. Hyuga yelled. The look on most of their faces conveyed the same question. That information is classified. Only Naruto can tell you, or if you ask me yourself should you figure it out. Tsunade said. The ninja didn't like this, but seeing as the Hokage wouldn't budge on the question they grumbled before silencing. If that is all, you are dismissed. Kakashi, Sakura, stay behind. Tsunade said. After everyone left, Tsunade glared at Sakura. Kakashi, I give you my condolences about Naruto and Sasuke. Be that as it may, Sasuke will more than likely be restricted at best in his career. At worst, he will be turned into breeding stock. Tsunade said. Kakashi nodded, not saying a word. You can't do that. Sasuke deserves the best there is. Sakura yelled. Sakura, apologize. Now, Kakashi demanded. No, it's fine Kakashi. I'll just add it to her growing record. Tsunade said with one of those sickly sweet smiles. A chill went down Kakashi's neck as he looked at Sakura. Her record? Kakashi asked quietly. Oh yes. You see, before Naruto was officially banished, Sakura assaulted Naruto by breaking some of his bones and giving him a concussion after he woke up in the hospital. Tsunade said. Kakashi's eyes burned with rage. You did what? Kakashi yelled. He deserved it. He nearly killed Sasuke. Sakura said smugly. Well, you'll be happy to know, Sakura Haruno, that you won't have to worry too much about Sasuke. The Hokage said. I won't. Sakura asked confused. Of course not. You'll need as much time to yourself to prepare your defense for your court-martial. Also, you're under investigation for the crime of changing vital information of a mission of life and death. Tsunade said with a smile. Kakashi grew even madder, but stayed quiet. Sakura on the other hand, grew extremely pale. You're dismissed. Both of you, Tsunade said. Again Kakashi, my condolences. The next day, the ship. The voyage so far had been uneventful. The members of Echo had gotten to know the strange crew a bit. Ventus was a bit stoic, philosophical, yet weirdly funny in a way. Retz was calm and collected, unless Quix was in the room with him, then a shouting match seemed to always ensue. Quix was their sniper, specializing in longbow techniques. He had only one eye, and was huge, standing slightly over 7 feet tall. Daruka was their doctor, and used medications he crafted from herbs and plant material. He and Reo had looked a bit closer at Naruto's blood. Hia was a cute, kinda cynical girl, who had a thing for Ventus. She was nice overall, and punched just as hard as Lee. Finally, were the twins. Wes and Prince. They had a strange ascent and were the musicians of the ship. Hisao got along quite well with them. Alright, we should be approaching the island soon. Quix, keep an eye out for any maelstroms. They are a part of the defenses of the island. Hia dictated. Meanwhile, in a dark underground lair. Report. Danzo said. Sir, we failed to get the Jinchuriki into our custody. The Yamanaka said. Both Anbu were on one knee in the office. How? Danzo stated. We ambushed the boy after the Anbu left. He nearly passed out before a large wave of sand came at us. It was the Ikibi Jinchuriki and his siblings. They forced us to retreat, not able to take the Kyubi. The monkey-masked one said. Very well. Did you manage to plant the seal? Danzo asked. Yes Lord Danzo. My nanites placed it on him before we retreated. The monkey-masked one said. Then all is not lost. Go, leave me, I must think on this. He said. The two Root Anbu jumped into the shadows. Danzo turned into his chair, facing a map. Let's see where you are, Uzumaki. He said. Maelstrom off the port bow. Quix yelled. Hia quickly ran to the port side, telescope in hand. Then, 30 degrees starboard, she yelled. Ventus swung the helm as hard as he could, the ship lurching to the side. It's gonna be a bumpy ride everyone. Ventus yelled. The helm was fighting Ventus, wanting to swing back the other direction. Drop the anchor now, Hia yelled. Daruka hoisted the anchor overboard. Let go then, Hia yelled. Ventus let go of the helm, it started spinning wildly, trying to get swirled into the torrent. The ship swung around, till the stern was facing the maelstrom. This is as close as we can get. Unless two know a way around the whirlpools, you're going to have to go alone. Ventus said, looking at a map. Naruto approached the map, trying to get a better look. Indeed, there were 5 giant whirlpools surrounding the islands. In the middle of the largest island was a spot labeled with the Uzumaki swirl. Any idea how we get over there? Naruto asked. Daruka and I might have. Reo said, walking out of the cabin. We tested your blood in some medical equipment, and it turns out you are an Uzumaki. So, we theorize that if you place some of your blood in the water, by choice, the whirlpool will open a small path for you to traverse. He explained. Naruto took out a kunai and walked towards the side of the boat. He cut his hand and let a few drops fall into the water before his hand healed. The boat suddenly started shaking. The whirlpool that the boat was aimed at suddenly dispersed, before 2 new, smaller whirlpools erupted, a small calm part of the ocean creating a path between them. It seems we go on foot at this point. Kai said. What will your crew do? He asked to Ventus. Ventus took out a small gun. Once you're ready to come back, shoot this flare. We're going to sail a bit away from these whirlpools. When we see the flare, we'll be right back. Ventus said. All right, Naruto, do you want us to go with you? Kai asked. Just you, Kai. We don't know what's on the island, or what's in the waters. Naruto said, scanning the horizon. Kai nodded before the 2 walked off the ship. Remember, shoot the flare once you're done. Ventus yelled out to them. It took them about a half an hour to travel over the calm belt. The ship was seen circling the outer wake. The islands of Whirlpool consisted of 4 small islands, and 1 larger central one. If the whirlpools didn't exist, one might say the land would be called the Islands of Paw Prints from the island's location. So where's the village supposed to be? Wondered Kai. The main island was covered in dense jungle. Silled animals could be heard hollering in the canopy. Towards the center of the island. Naruto responded before they broke into the jungle, jumping from tree to tree. After about another hour of travel, they came upon the tattered remains of a battlefield that was once called Whirlpool. Naruto fell to his knees. I knew it was bad. But never did I imagine this. He said. Tears flowed down his cheeks. A few buildings remained, albeit extremely damaged. Bodies littered the ground, both friend and enemy. The only distinguishing detail was the headbands seen on some of the corpses. At the center of the village stood a short, circular building, with the Uzumaki swirl carved into its facade. Kai placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder. Take as much time as you need, he said before retreating from the gate. Naruto stood up on shaky legs before putting his fingers in a cross. Shadow Clone Jutsu, he said, summoning a large army of clones. As one they started collecting the bodies, while a few wandered off to search the buildings. Naruto motioned for Kai to follow as they walked carefully to the central building. When they got to the entrance of the building, Naruto noticed that it was undamaged, unlike the rest of the village. Kai, stay back, I've got the feeling only an Uzumaki can go from here, Naruto said. Kai nodded and stepped back. Naruto placed his hand on the door, and a large barrier erupted from the ground around the building. He tried to push his way through, but had no luck. Try your blood, Kai suggested. Naruto pulled out a kunai and slit his palm, before placing it back on the barrier. A gap opened, large enough for Naruto to crouch under. As soon as he went through the gap, it closed once more. He slowly opened the door, only to be surprised. It seemed like nothing had changed, even with an invasion going on. No dust was on the furniture or floors. Papers were neatly stacked, waiting for a secretary to organize them. Wow, I definitely didn't expect this, Naruto said aloud. Wow indeed, a voice said behind him. Naruto whirled around, kunai back in hand. No one was behind him, only the large oak doors. Who's there? Naruto demanded. The inner chamber is where I am, the voice said. Naruto approached another pair of large doors. These more regal, yet demanded respect. What was inside shocked Naruto to the core. Hello my descendant, an elderly man said. Before Naruto stood a ghostly figure. He was elderly, having a long faded red beard. His hair was smooth, and fell to his shoulder blades. He wore a simple, yet elegant kimono, and held onto a staff. On his side was a katana. How is this possible? Naruto asked. Seals, the phantom said. I'm Shizukana Uzumaki, the last leader of our clan. Before we fell, I created a seal array that once I died, a part of my chakra would go here, until such a time that another Uzumaki found this place. Shizukana explained. Might I have your name, and your parents? He asked. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I don't have solid proof of who my parents were, but I'm fairly certain my mother was Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto explained. Ah, little Kushina, my eldest niece, and the heir to Whirlpool, Shizukana said with a smile. What happened to her? He asked. I don't know, but I was told in the past she died when the 9-tailed fox attacked the village. Naruto explained. Shizukana's eyes narrowed at this. The fox attacked your village. That should have been near impossible, not with the seal she had. Wait, are you the current Jinchuriki? He asked. Naruto nodded. This is much unexpected. He said, stroking his beard. However, this could be fortuitous. He continued. Naruto, I do believe that your mother was Kushina. She held the fox as the second container, after the first Hokage's wife died. May I examine your seal? He asked. Naruto slowly lifted his shirt, and started channeling chakra. Shizukana got eye to stomach as he studied the seal. Very interesting. And what's this? Oh, he said before standing back up. Your seal was crafted not by an Uzumaki, but the seal itself was designed by us. Also, I found something interesting while examining it. There's 3 other seals on you. Shizukana said. Naruto's eyes widened. Who put more seals on me? Naruto asked. The first 2 hold chakra, much like my seal does. I believe one is your mother. The other, the man who sealed the fox into you. The only way those seals work though, is if you reach certain levels. As of what, I cannot say. The third, on the other hand, was recent and much sloppier. He said, it's a tracking seal, it must have been those root characters. Naruto said, can you remove it? Shizukana shook his head no. I am but a simple chakra construct, holding enough to guide you until my requirements are met. Naruto's head fell sadly, but, that doesn't stop you from taking it off. The Phantom said. Naruto looked at him with a questioning look. All our seal work, and some of our jutsu is here, hidden, and protected by the barrier around these walls. Only an Uzumaki could have found them. Shizukana explained. Learn your birthright, and the plan we had to help peace be achieved. He said before his body started to become paler. My requirements have been met. I am finally leaving for the next world. The vault is under this room. Use your blood. Find your birthright. Shizukana said before he finally passed on. Naruto nodded with confidence before tearing up the room looking for the vault. Finally, after removing the desk and carpet, he found a trap door with another seal on it. He placed his blood on it, and the door opened, revealing a ladder going down. At the bottom of the ladder was a mixture of an armory and a library. Naruto made a few more shadow clones to look up how to make sealing scrolls and blood seals. After a few minutes, his clones popped, giving him the knowledge he sought. He quickly made a blood-releasing storage scroll and sealed everything in the room. He climbed back up the ladder and exited the building, not before tying a whirlpool forehead protector around his waist. Did you find everything you were looking for? Kai asked. Everything and more, Naruto said solemnly. He saw his clones had stacked all the bodies in a pile. He dispelled them. Kai, do you know any fire jutsu? He asked. Kai nodded before gling through some hand signs. Great fireball jutsu, Kai said. A large ball of fire shot out of his mouth and hit the pile. After about 10 minutes all that remained was a pile of ashes. Naruto pulled out metal container and placed as much of the ashes as he could into it. He then carved the Uzumaki swirl onto the container before sealing it away. Let's go back, Naruto said. The sun was just starting to set as they arrived at the beach. Kai fired the flare, and as the boat approached, Naruto placed a bit of blood in GHE water. How'd it go guys? Ryo asked as they board the ship. I feel completed, Naruto said with a smile. All right then, let's go home, Ventus said, swinging the helm towards Wave. Be on guard when we arrive, Naruto said. Why? Asked Gurren. Those root members I met. They placed a tracking seal on me. Well, can we take it off? Gurren asked. Not right now, I'm not experienced enough with seals to understand how to get rid of it. Naruto explained. Then we need to be extra careful. Naruto, is there anywhere besides Wave that we could go to avoid Danzo and Root? Kai asked. Naruto thought for a moment. Suna, I have friends there, and it's pretty far away from Root's reach I would imagine. Naruto said. Kai nodded. As they sat on the ship, debating their next move, a plume of smoke erupted from nowhere right next to Ko. Everyone drew their weapons and assumed a defensive stance, in case it was an attack. A badger, Naruto deadpanned as the smoke cleared. Yes, they are my summons, and the reason why I am our spymaster. Ko explained. Naruto was still skeptic. How are badgers good for spying? Naruto asked. Badgers can live in almost any climate, and most people don't take a second glance at them if spotted. They just think it was interesting to see one. Ko said with a smile. He then turned to the badger, who was dressed in monk's clothes, much like Ko was. After a few minutes of hushed whispers, the badger nodded and disappeared in another plume of smoke. It seems we have a job, Ko said, turning towards the group. And what is the payout? Hisao asked. A large blow to Orochimaru's support block, and 20,000 Ryo. Ko informed. It seems our trip to Whirlpool caused us to not hear about the snake killing the Sound Daimyo, and assuming control over the nation, as well as the hidden village. However, He failed to kill Princess Nozomi, who was on her way to the neighboring country, the Land of Fog, to meet her fiancé copyright, Prince Masashi Funaki. She sent a message to them saying that the border was looking for her, and so she's hiding in a nearby town. Our job is to find and escort her to Fog. This will break Orochimaru's hold on the country, as it is virtually unknown that he's taken over. Ko explained. After a few minutes to think over the information, Kai motioned towards Gurren. Gurren, I want you to take Naruto to Suna. You can't be seen in sound, since Orochimaru thinks you're dead. As for you Naruto, you aren't ready for a mission of this caliber. Go to Suna, and train there till you can take on multiple Jonin at once. Once you're ready, use this, and it will summon one of my wolves, that way we will know that you're good to go. Kai said, handing Naruto a scroll with a summoning jutsu on it. Naruto nodded. This mission will take some time, so don't worry about rushing yourself. Kai said. The rest of the day was spent preparing for the mission. The next day they made port, and were greeted by Tazuna and Tsunami. How'd it go Naruto? Tazuna asked. It was good, I found what I was looking for. Naruto said with a smile. Good for you. Tsunami smiled. Will you be staying any longer? She asked. No, my friends have a new mission that's quite urgent, and I need to get back to training. Naruto explained. Tsunami nodded. Well, you're ninja after all, always one thing or another. Tazuna said. Don't be a stranger now. Tazuna said as they left Wave. Naruto hugged Inari and Tsunami, and gave Tazuna a handshake. Alright, everyone ready? Reo asked. The team nodded before running in different directions. Naruto and Gurren towards the northwest. Kai, Ko, Hisao, and Reo northwest. About an hour into their run, Gurren and Naruto stopped. What is it? Naruto asked. Gurren created a crystal-bladed armguard. We're not alone, she said. Naruto pulled out a kunai. A single figure walked out of the trees. He wore a mask with the kanji for root. Naruto Uzumaki. Come quietly, and your friend will not be harmed. He said as 7 more root Anbu appeared. You up for this? Gurren whispered. We're going to find out. Naruto replied. I'm not going back to Konoha. He said before sending a barrage of kunai at the nearest root Anbu. Gurren formed some hand signs and 3 clones materialized. The 4 ran towards different Anbu, engaging in taijutsu. Naruto formed a familiar cross with his fingers, and 10 clones burst into existence. 2 clones remained as the rest engaged the other Anbu. Why are you after me? Naruto demanded. The agent remained silent as he went through hand signs before 2 large fireballs were sent flying towards the blonde. Naruto quickly substituted with a log, narrowly avoiding being burned to a crisp. He took out 2 kunai before charging the Anbu. The Anbu unsheathed a sword before the 2 clashed, sparks going everywhere. The clones charged as well, aiming punches at the Anbu's head. He dodged, evading the blonde clones. Naruto used one of the clones to create a Rasengan and slammed it straight into the Anbu. The Anbu was sent flying into a tree, killing him. Naruto's clones dispelled, causing Naruto to have a headache from images running through his mind. Gurren appeared next to him, blood running down her braces. What's wrong? She asked, noticing the kid rubbing his head. A headache. I've never had one after using the shadow clones before. Naruto said. Gurren furrowed her brow for a moment. We'll worry about it later. For now, grab a mask from one of the root Anbus, we'll take it with us. Gurren explained. Naruto nodded before grabbing a mask and they took off towards Suna. After about an hour, Naruto was growing bored. Say Gurren, have you ever been to Suna? Once, right before Orochimaru killed the Cage. Gurren said. The 2 fell into an awkward silence until they made camp for the night. If we continue at the speed we've been traveling, we should arrive at Suna in about 3 days. Gurren explained as she stoked a campfire. You're pretty strong, aren't you Gurren? Naruto said. I'd like to think so. I was a candidate to be Orochimaru's next vessel before I defected. She said. Naruto nodded, thinking about the bone guy he fought when they went to retrieve Sasuke. He brainwashes everyone, doesn't he? Naruto asked. Gurren sighed. Yeah, he finds those who have been forgotten, used, thrown away, and he promises them a home and a purpose. And eventually, he becomes your whole reason of existence. Gurren explained. I was like that before I became a ninja. I was hated, or ignored my whole life, and I didn't even know why. But a few people believed in me, and that's what kept me sane. Naruto said. Gurren looked at him for a moment before nodding. Let's get some rest. We've still got a while to travel. Gurren said. And so they went to sleep, a few of Gurren's clones watching the perimeter. The next 3 days were spent in relative peace. They were only delayed for a few hours by a sandstorm. Halt. State your name and purpose of entry into the village hidden in the sand. A guard said as they finally arrived. From the outside, One would never guess a village was contained by the large rock jutting out of the desert. I am Naruto Uzumaki, and this is Gurren. I'm here to visit my friend Gaara of the desert. Naruto explained. The guard raised an eyebrow before sending a messenger hawk to fight Gaara. After about 10 minutes the redhead arrived at the gate. Naruto, what are you doing here? Gaara asked. Gaara, I need a place to lay low and train for a little while. I figured you could help. Naruto said. Gaara nodded before looking at TGE blue-haired woman. Oh, this is Gurren. I met her and a group of other ninja on the road, not long after you saved me. Naruto explained. Gaara nodded once more before turning towards the guards. Let them in, he said. The guards nodded before moving out of the way of the road. Come, Gaara said. As Naruto and Gurren walked through the village, Naruto marveled at how different it was than Konoha. The buildings were made of stucco and clay, and seemed more dome-like than the traditional four-point home. Most people had some form of covering over their heads as they traveled through the village. Wow, Gaara, your village is really interesting, Naruto said with a grin. The people in the immediate area smiled as they heard the stranger compliment their home. If you say so, Gaara replied. Is your friend always like this? Gurren asked. Naruto nodded with a smile. Gurren shrugged. Eventually, the three came to a fairly large home with a wall surrounding it. This is my family's home. You are welcome to stay as long as you wish, Gaara said. Guest rooms are on the first floor. I must get back to my duties, Gaara said before shining away. Gurren sighed in relief as they entered the home. It was much cooler inside. The interior was much different than the exterior. The floor was gray marble tiling while the walls were made of a dark mahogany. The floor plan was fairly open, with a staircase going up to the second floor, and one going down towards a basement. The kitchen and living room made up most of the first floor, with a full bath, a library, and 2 small guest bedrooms finishing the area. The second floor had 4 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, and a study for the family head. In the basement, there was a laundry room, a storage area, and a workshop for Kankuro. Gaara, is that you? Kankuro asked. As he walked up from the basement. Naruto, what are you doing here? And who's the babe? Kankuro asked. A tick mark appeared on Gurren's head before a crystal kunai embedded itself in the door next to the puppet master's head. Kankuro, this is Gurren. Gurren, Kankuro, Gaara's brother. Naruto introduced. As for why I'm here, I needed some place safe for me to train for a while. Naruto explained. Kankuro nodded. Well, Temari will be glad you're here. How about you guys unpack your things and wash up? It's probably been a while since you've had a proper shower, Kankuro suggested. Both ninja agreed before Kankuro showed them their rooms. After unsealing everything, Naruto exited his room. Gurren took the shower already. Naruto. There's 2 upstairs that are free though, Kankuro explained from the couch. Naruto nodded before going upstairs. He saw 7 doors and sweat dropped. Which one is it, Kankuro? He called downstairs. Second door on the right, or third door on the left? He heard in response. Deciding to take the closest bathroom, he opened the door. I wonder what that shout was. Must be Gaara beating up Kankuro over something stupid, Temari said to herself as she dried her legs off from her bath. She had just finished a relaxing soak after a long day of training. I wonder how Naruto is doing, she wondered aloud. Just then, the door opened, revealing said blonde. Both stopped immediately and stared at each other in shock. Temari recovered first and grabbed the first thing she could get a hold of. It was a large bottle of shampoo. Pervert, she yelled as she threw the bottle, hitting Naruto square in the face, knocking him to the ground out cold. A bit of blood ran down his nose. Whether it was from the bottle or Temari, it was unclear. She quickly slammed the door as Kankuro rushed up the stairs to see Naruto on the floor, a bottle of shampoo next to him, and blood running down his nose. Oh no, don't tell me he walked in on Temari, Kankuro groaned. He grabbed Naruto and dragged him downstairs, placing him on the couch before getting an ice pack for his nose. 10 minutes later, Gurren walked out of the bathroom, fully dressed. What happened to him? She asked upon seeing Naruto. I think he walked in on my sister bathing. Her name's Temari, Kankuro explained. 5 more minutes passed before Temari walked down the stairs, her face a deep crimson. Please tell me Naruto didn't just walk in on me, and I didn't hit him in the face with a bottle of shampoo, Temari asked. Kankuro gasped like a fish before pointing towards the couch. Temari looked over and blushed deeper at seeing the blonde. Then she noticed Gurren. Hi, I'm Temari, she said. Gurren, Naruto's traveling companion. Gurren said, I hope I didn't him too hard. What are you guys even doing here? Temari asked. Gurren then explained everything that happened since the blonde joined Echo. So some creep in Konoha is trying to kidnap Naruto? Temari asked. So it seems. Gurren shrugged. Meanwhile, with said creep. You failed me again, Danzo yelled. I'm sorry sir, he was not alone. A woman with a strange bloodline was with him. A root Anbu explained. It doesn't matter. I wasted one of my implanted eyes to get everyone to agree to banish the weapon so that we could capture him. There aren't any more Sharingan eyes. Danzo ranted. He turned towards the world map, and stared hard at a red blinking light. And now he's in Suna. One of the worst places for him to be. Danzo said. Shall I get a group together to infiltrate sir? TH's Anbu asked. No, we can't risk it. Suna may not have the security barrier we do, but their ninja are extra vigilant. We can't afford to be caught. Danzo explained. The Anbu nodded before disappearing from the room. Damn you Uzumaki. What happened? Naruto asked as he sat up from the bed. When he saw Temari, the memories of her body returned to him, causing him to blush madly, and a bit of blood trickled down his nose. Temari, I didn't mean to walk in on you I swear. Naruto stuttered out. Temari's blush returned twice as dark. Just don't make a habit out of it. Knock next time, the lock doesn't always work. Temari said as she looked at the wall, not able to meet his eyes. Kankuro giggled a bit. A tick mark appeared on Temari's head. Why didn't you tell him I was bathing? She yelled as she slammed her fan on Kankuro's head. I didn't know you were home. He said from the floor. I yelled down to you earlier that I was home and going to take a bath. Temari said. You did? Kankuro asked. Temari slammed her fan down on him once more. You are too loud, a voice said from the door. Everyone turned to the door to see Gaara taking his shoes off. Naruto, can you give me the full story for why you're here now? He asked. Naruto nodded before explaining his travels and being attacked and tracked by Root. This is most uncomfortable. I will have to ask the council to increase our patrols. Gaara said. You can do that, Naruto asked. I'm being trained to be the future Kazekage. I have a bit of sway with the council. Gaara replied. What?